Reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adikanda chapter 2 by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. When the lands on the banks of Mother Ganga are all places of pilgrimage, why did the Vaishnava devotees appear in impious lands? Chaitanya himself descended on the banks of Mother Ganga, so why did his eternal associates appear in faraway places? In their travels, the Pandavas avoided countries devoid of the sound of the holy name of the Lord and the waters of Mother Ganga. Oh, I remember, I read that last time. So we go here, next page. As they had grown prouder and more materialistic, the people's taste for devotional service to the Supreme Lord had decreased alarmingly, and the beginning of Kali Yuga had ushered in immoral activities. The only religious or devotional activities they knew were invocations to the demigods and demigoddesses, especially Durga Devi, and prayers for temporary material benedictions. Some arrogantly worshipped Manasa, the goddess of snakes. Others wasted huge amounts of wealth worshipping dolls. They squandered large sums on the marriages of their sons and daughters, and in this way they wasted their human life. Even the supposedly knowledgeable high priests, the Bhattacharyas, Chakravartis, and Mishras, did not know the purpose of the scriptures. Though they taught the scriptures, their activities were contrary to the scriptural injunction. So, along with their students, they drowned in the deluge of iniquity. Nobody was engaged in explaining the imports of congregational chanting of Lord Krishna's holy name, the religion of Kali Yuga. They spent their time simply finding faults in others. As for the superstitious so-called renunciates and hermits, not a single name of Krishna ever escaped their mouth. Those considered most pious in society were heard repeating the Lord's name Govinda or Punarikaksha only once at the time of daily ablution. Devotional perspectives were invariably absent in the explanation of the transcendental literatures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vaishnava devotees of the Lord became distressed upon seeing the general population engrossed in material existence under the external energy of the Lord. They compassionately thought, how can all these living entities be liberated? They are completely mesmerized by the myth of sense pleasures. Although the people were requested to chant Krishna's holy name by the devotees, they refused, and instead they foolishly busied themselves acquiring fruitless material knowledge. The elevated Vaishnava devotees continued their devotional activities by worshipping Krishna, taking bath in the Ganga, and discussing Krishna-conscious topics. The Vaishnavas became moved to benedict humanity and prayed that Lord Krishna would quickly shower his mercy upon them. Foremost of the great Vaishnavas in Navadvip was Advaita Acharya, who is glorified throughout the world. This preeminent spiritual preceptor was the glorious exponent of the absolute science of devotion and renunciation. His delineation of Krishna-conscious topics equaled that of Lord Shiva. His explanation on all existing scriptures arrived at the same conclusion. The essence of everything is devotion to Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Advaita constantly worshipped Lord Krishna with great devotion, offering him tulasi manjaris, blossoms and Ganga water. His intense attachment for Lord Krishna made him call out and resound loudly in exultation. This ecstatic sound penetrated the coverings of the material world, passed by the abode of Lord Brahma, and entered into Vaikuntha. Captured by the booming, ecstatic sound of Advaita Acharya's love, Lord Krishna personally appeared, for he is controlled by the love of his devotee. Advaita Acharya Prabhu was the leader of the Vaishnavas. His devotional service was the most glorious in Lord Brahma's planetary system. In this way, Advaita Acharya spent his days absorbed in devotional service in Navadvip. However, he suffered acute pain at the sight of persons bereft of devotional service. The people were all mad after mundane sense pleasure. No one was keen to worship or serve Lord Krishna. Some worshipped Vasuti, a female deity identified with Kandi, with many gifts, while others worshipped the yakshas with flesh and wine. They drowned in the endless tumult of singing, dancing, and music, their ears deaf to the nectarine call of the auspicious names of Lord Krishna. The demigods are not satisfied with worship from humankind that is ultimately not meant for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. Advaita Acharya in particular was extremely unhappy about such worship. Advaita Acharya Prabhu had a very compassionate nature. He was always thinking of how to liberate the conditioned souls. He would say, "If my Lord descends, then he can liberate everyone. I am known as Advaita Simha, Advaita the lion. However, this name will only be justified if I can convince the beloved Lord of Vaikuntha to appear in this world. I will cause the Lord of Vaikuntha to descend in person, and thus all shall sing and dance in transcendental joy. In this way, all the conditioned souls shall be liberated." Considering matters in this way, Advaita constantly worshipped the lotus feet of Sri Krishna with undeviating resolve. Lord Chaitanya made his appearance because of Advaita Acharya Prabhu's sincere plea. The Lord himself often repeated this fact. Srivas Pandit and his 3 brothers were residents of Navadvip. They always chanted Lord Krishna's name, bathed in the Ganga, and worshipped Krishna thrice a day. Later, Lord Chaitanya performed many pastimes in Srivas' house. Excuse me. On the instruction of Lord Chaitanya, many of his eternal associates, like Sri Chandrasekhara, Sri Jagadish, Sri Gopinath, Sriman, Sri Murari, Sri Garuda, and Sri Gangadas appeared before himself. In connection with these various incidents, I mention only those personalities known personally to me. Otherwise, to mention every individual would make this book bulky. Each one of these magnanimous devotees executed his spiritual duties and was concerned only with devotional service to Krishna. They were unaware of one another's inner spiritual identity. Yet they mixed intimately as confidential friends. Wherever they looked, they saw a world devoid of devotion, and their hearts were seared with sorrow. They found no one with any taste for the nectar of Lord Krishna's pastimes. So they simply glorified the Lord amongst themselves. Often they spent many hours together in Sri Advaita Acharya's residence, discussing topics of Lord Krishna, and in this manner they dispelled all discontent. The devotees saw the world burning in the flames of material existence, and yet they found no opportunity to inspire the people to an awareness of Krishna. This caused them great sorrow. Sri Advaita Acharya had gathered together the community of Vaishnavas and had attempted to make the people conscious of Krishna, but not a soul could understand. Stricken with grief at the suffering of the people, Sri Advaita Acharya began fasting. All the Vaishnavas sighed deeply at the situation. Why sing and dance for Krishna? What is a Vaishnava? What is the benefit of congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name? Gross materialistic people running after wealth and family and do not comprehend any of these things. Indeed, such atheists only taunt and laugh at the Vaishnavas. As every evening descended, Srivas Thakur and his 3 brothers would vociferously sing the Lord's name in their house. The atheistic neighbors vilified Srivas Thakur, pronouncing him mad. They declared that the entire village would be destroyed because of him. They said that the tyrannical Muslim rulers would tear the village apart if they heard people loudly chanting Krishna's name. Some envious neighbors said they would break down Srivas Thakur's house and float it down the Ganga in order to get rid of him. When Srivas Thakur leaves, only then will the village be peaceful again. Otherwise, the Muslim rulers will torture us. When the saintly Vaishnavas heard such threats from the atheists, they simply wept, telling their sorrows to Lord Krishna. Sri Advaita Acharya burned with rage upon hearing this news, and unconcerned with his state of dress, he addressed the Vaishnavas. Listen, Sri Vastakur, Sri Gangadas, and Suklambara. I shall make Lord Krishna appear before everyone's eyes. Lord Krishna will come personally and liberate everyone. In the company of you, the Vaishnavas, the Lord will teach the atheist Krishna Prema. If I fail to keep my promise, I shall manifest my 4-handed form and take up my disc. I shall sever the heads of all the atheists. Only then will it be confirmed that Lord Krishna is my Lord and Master, and that I am his servitor. Sri Advaita Acharya spoke extensively, and then resolving him within himself, he constantly worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, determined to evoke the Lord's appearance. The collective devotees also worshipped Lord Krishna's lotus feet with great attention and continuous tears. As the devotees went about their duties in Navadvip town, nowhere did they find any discussion about Krishna or his devotional service. Thus, shocked, the devotees became grief-stricken. Some contemplated leaving their bodies, while others sobbed Krishna's name, letting out deep long sighs. So severe was the devotees' pain at the sight of the futile endeavors of a godless society, that they lost all appetite. Finally, they renounced any material comfort, whereupon the Supreme Lord made his preparations to descend to the material world. By the Supreme Lord's desire, Lord Nityananda, the origin of Lord Anantasesha, descended before him in the land called Radhadesh. Lord Nityananda made his appearance in the womb of Srimati Padmavati Devi on the auspicious 13th day of the waxing moon in a village called Ekachakra. Although he is the original Supreme Father of everyone, Nityananda allowed Sri Hadai Pandit, a pure and elevated Brahmana, to play the role of his father. Excuse me. The Supreme Lord, Sri Balaram, is an ocean of mercy and is the giver of pure devotional service to Krishna. He has again appeared, this time with the name Nityananda. The denizens of heavenly planets secretly celebrated this occasion, showering flower confetti with tumultuous sounds of joy and praise. Lord Nityananda's appearance in the land of Radhadash gradually increased that district's good fortune in every respect. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared to liberate the fallen souls, soon took the dress of a mendicant and travelled everywhere. In this manner, Lord Ananda made his advent. Now hear descriptions of Lord Krishna's advent. Sri Jagannath Mishra, the great transcendental personality, resided in Navadvip. He was like Vasudeva, Lord Krishna's father, always engaged in spiritual activities. He was magnanimous and possessed the zenith of all the Brahminical qualities. His qualities had no comparison in this world. Sri Jagannath Mishra was of the same spiritual category as Kashyapa, Dasarath, Vasudeva or Nanda. His dedicated wife, Srimati Sachi Devi, was the embodiment of devotion to the Supreme Lord. She was the universal mother. All her 8 daughters soon passed away, and she was left with one greatly fortunate son, Vishvarup. Sri Vishvarup was as beautiful and charming as Cupid, and the source of unlimited joy for his parents. From birth, Sri Vishvarup was material renounced, and as a child he swiftly mastered all the different scriptures. However, the general society was becoming bereft of devotional service to the Lord, and the godlessness then visible in Navadvip at the beginning of Kali Yuga was indicative of what the future had in store. Yet, the Supreme Lord descends when religious principles decline and he feels that his devotees are suffering. Thus the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, entered into the bodies of Srimati Sachi Devi and Sri Jagannath Mishra. Lord Ananta sang hymns praising the Lord. Sri Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi heard the glorification as if in a dream. Both husband and wife shone brightly with a spiritual radiance which ordinary eyes could not perceive. Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and the other demigods, understanding that the Supreme Lord was now appearing upon the earth, came and offered prayers. These mystical pastimes of the Lord are all recorded in the great Vedic scriptures. The following eulogies of Lord Brahma and the other demigods are most confidential knowledge, and hearing them will result in deep attachment for Krishna. All glories to the Supreme Lord Chaitanya, the maintainer of all. You are appearing to inaugurate the congregational chanting of the holy name. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, the protector of Vedic religion, saintly devotees and pious brahmanas. You are the destroyer of the non-devotees and death personified for the atheists. All glories to Lord Chaitanya. Your transcendental form is absolute, eternal, and full of bliss. You are the Supreme Lord of Lords, whose desires cannot be obstructed. You are unmanifest in millions and millions of universes. Yet you now manifest yourself in the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi. Who can understand the activities of your sweet independent will? Creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the universes are just aspects of your wonderful pastimes. Your might, ignited only by your desire, can destroy the entire cosmic manifestation. With mere words, you may kill demons like Ravana and Kamsa. Yet, in spite of this potency, you appeared in the house of King Dasharat and Sri Vasudeva to kill personally those demons. Who can unravel the mystery behind your activities? Only you know your own sweet will. Simply by your desire, any one of your servitors can liberate all the innumerable universes. Yet, you personally descend to teach religious principles to the people of the world and thus benedict them. In such a yuga, you appeared with a whitish complexion to teach the path of austerity and meditation by performing such austerity yourself. To establish religious principles, you took the role of a celibate Brahmin, with matted hair, carrying an antelope skin, mendicant staff, and water pot. In Treta Yuga, you appeared in a beautiful reddish complexion to teach the religious practice of fire sacrifice. Jai. Jai. With Shrak and Sruya in hand for pouring of sacrificial ghee, you personally demonstrated and conducted the sacrificial rituals. In Dwapara Yuga, you came with the transcendently beautiful dark complexion of a monsoon cloud and established deity worship in every house. Wearing a yellow cloth and decorated with the Srivas sign, which is exclusively yours, you taught opulent deity worship. In Kali Yuga, you now appear as a learned Brahmana with a golden yellow complexion to disseminate the most confidential religious practice of congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name. You accept unlimited incarnations, who has the power to count them. In your incarnation as the transcendental fish, Matsya, you appeared in the waters of annihilation. As Kurma, the tortoise, you were the support of all living beings by supporting the Mandara mountain. As Hayagriva, you preserved the Vedas and killed the two demons, Madhu and Kaitava. As Varaha, the boar incarnation, you rescued the earth, and as Lord Nishingadev, you pierced and killed the demon Hiranyakashipu. As the dwarf incarnation Lord Vamana, you outwitted the demon King Bali. As Parashuram, you rid the world of Kshatriyas, the fighting class. As Lord Ramachandra, you destroyed the demon Ravana. As Lord Balaram, who holds the plough, you have expanded unlimited. As Lord Buddha, you preach the religion of compassion and non-violence. As Lord Kalki, you will destroy the degraded Malachas, those who do not follow the Vedic injunctions. As Lord Dhanvantara, you distributed the nectar of immortality, Amrita. And as Lord Hamsa, the swan incarnation, you spoke the knowledge of the Absolute to Lord Brahma and others. As Narada Muni, you held the veena and sang sweetly, and as Lord Vyasadeva, you explained the truth about yourself. Lord Krishna is above all these incarnations and their beautiful eternal pastimes. He eternally resides in Gokula with many variegated pleasure pastimes. In this incarnation you appear as a pure unalloyed devotee. You disseminate the knowledge, devotional service and chant the holy name. The nectar of congregational chanting of the holy name will drown the entire universe in waves of bliss, and every house will know the process of love of Krishna. Are we able to describe the universal ecstasy that will be aroused when you will dance with all your devotees and servitors? Just by their constant remembrance of your lotus feet, your pure devotees free this world of all ills and inauspiciousness. The touch of their feet dispels the dark omens of the world, and a mere glance from them purifies all directions. O Lord Chaitanya, so glorious are your servitors that when they dance wonderfully with their arms upraised, they remove all disturbances in the heavenly planets. We stop here and we continue tomorrow. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai, Adikanda chapter 2, Ki Jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai, Sarva Bhavana Das Ki Jai, Jai Srila Gurudev. Hari Yadaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govindaram Sri Madhusudan.
Gopala Govindaram Sri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Govinda Radha Namaha.
Giridhari Gopinath Namaha.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Radha Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Radha Srivasadi Gaura
Pachila Bhakti Nimalachaya Maharaj Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Sri Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai, Om Vishnu Pachila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Om Vishnu Pachila Bhakti Rakakshi Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Bhagavan Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai, Sri Rupanam Kapoor Bhaga Ki Jai, Namacharya Shilaya Thakur Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Sabhashara Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Sabhashara Sri Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Prabhu Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Tulasi Narayana Ki Jai, Ganga Yamuna Jo Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai, Sri Navadvitam Ki Jai, Sri Mayapudam Ki Jai, Sri Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai, Golkartas Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat East London Chapter Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat West London Chapter Ki Jai, Samveta Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai, Samveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Sri Navadvitam's second day of Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Sri Ekadasi